Look down at verse 16 now. So the Lord's come back at the first part of chapter 14. He's defeated all the nations. Now he's established his kingdom. And in verse 16, and it shall come to pass that everyone who is left of all the nations which came against Jerusalem, so those that survived the tribulation period, that survived the battle of Armageddon, they're now in the kingdom age, they shall go up from year to year to worship the King, the Lord of hosts, and to keep the Feast of Tabernacles. So during the kingdom age, everybody's going to go up to Jerusalem to keep the feast. And it shall be that whichever of the families of the earth do not come up to Jerusalem to worship the King, the Lord of hosts, on them there will be no rain. If the family of Egypt will not come up and enter in, they shall have no rain. They shall receive the plague with which the Lord strikes the nations who do not come up to keep the Feast of Tabernacles. This shall be the punishment of Egypt and the punishment of all the nations that do not come up to keep the Feast of Tabernacles. So everybody will be required. Whether they want to go up or not, they're going to have to go. In that day, verse 20, holiness to the Lord shall be engraved on the bells of the horses. The whole city of Jerusalem is going to be holy, even down to the bells on the horses. The pots in the Lord's house shall be like the bowls before the altar. Yes, every pot in Jerusalem and Judah shall be holiness to the Lord of hosts. Everyone who sacrifices shall come and take them and cook them. And that day there shall no longer be a Canaanite in the house of the Lord of hosts. It's just going to be holiness in the city of Jerusalem. Psalm 98, you don't have to turn there. Psalm 98, verse 9, I'll just read it to you. For he is coming to judge the earth. With righteousness he shall judge the world, and the people with equity or correctness, rightness. The world has never known a ruler who rules with perfect righteousness all the time. That's the kingdom age. Now turn back with me to Micah. Are you guys with me? Okay. Chapter 4, look at verse 3. Again, speaking of the kingdom age when Jesus Christ is ruling on the earth, verse 3 says, he shall judge between many peoples and rebuke strong nations afar off. They shall beat their swords into plowshares and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore. Look, verse 3 says during that kingdom age, there's still going to be nations and kingdoms and people living on the earth, and any strong nation that tries to act out during the kingdom age, Jesus will immediately stop them. I can't help but think about the current situation with Ukraine and Russia invading that nation, and it seems all the world is looking for someone to stop Russia. The president of Ukraine is pleading with world leaders to do something. But no, and I'm not saying it's right or wrong what we're doing, what we're not doing, but nations don't want to get involved because they don't want to get in a direct conflict with Russia. But all the world is looking for someone, some leader to lead and stop Russia from doing what they're doing. During the kingdom age, Jesus will stop any aggression by a nation. He'll be a strong leader. The Bible describes Jesus as, listen, the desire of all nations. That's what the world's looking for right now. Everybody's afraid to act against Russia. Again, I'm not saying whether that's right or wrong. I'm just saying everybody's afraid to act against Russia because we don't want to start World War III. But all the nations are looking for someone to do something, to put an end to it. They're really looking for Jesus. They just don't realize it. He's the desire of all nations. He's the one all the nations desire right now. During the kingdom age, we're told in verse 3, there'll be no more war. Nations shall not lift up sword against nation. They're going to turn their weapons into farming equipment. They're going to be manufacturing farming equipment. instead of manufacturing weapons. In the kingdom, there will be no need for a military, no need for national defense. Now look at verse 4. And everyone shall sit under his vine and under his fig tree, and no one shall make them afraid. For the mouth of the Lord has spoken. Everyone will sit under his vine, his own vine, and under his fig tree. What does that mean? It means every individual during the kingdom age will experience personal prosperity and peace. Everyone will have his own vine, his own fig tree. The vine, of course, produces grapes, which is used to produce wine. Wine in the Bible is a symbol of joy. The kingdom age will be a time of great joy for everyone. Fig trees have very large leaves, which provide shade. They produce very sweet fruit. Everyone will sit under his own fig tree in the shade of the tree and enjoy the sweet fruit of the tree. Life will be good for everybody in the kingdom. Now, sitting under your fig tree became a symbol of the kingdom age, when Israel will be living in peace and prosperity, and the Messiah will be reigning. And so Jews would study the Scriptures literally sitting under a fig tree. And as they studied the Scriptures, studied the Bible, they would sit under a fig tree. It was symbolic of their hope for the Messiah to come and the kingdom age to come. Now, if you're a note taker, you remember in John chapter 1, remember Nathanael. Nathanael was the one who said, "Can anything good come out of Nazareth?" Remember what Jesus said to him? "Nathanael, I saw you when you were sitting under your fig tree." Meaning Nathanael had this messianic hope. He was looking for the Messiah to come and establish his kingdom and liberate Israel. And that's when Jesus saw him. That's when Jesus revealed himself to him. And by the way, this is just extra credit. It's not going to be on the test. George Washington quoted Micah chapter 4, verse 4 over 50 times in letters that he wrote regarding the United States, the founding of our nation. That everyone would sit under his own vine and everyone would sit under his own fig tree, speaking of his hope for the prosperity of the United States.